I want to point, Abby, to a survey, a study that just came out 2 weeks ago that showed that something around 1 in 4 Americans have favorable attitudes towards political violence if their candidate loses. That's among the highest levels we've ever seen in the modern era. That's very concerning, and it doesn't bode well for 2024, and law enforcement is trying to prepare for it.
All right, Miles Taylor, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Abby.
And up next for us, more lawsuits tonight against Northwestern University over hazing. One of the players who's at the center is breaking his silence with me tonight, including claims of naked drills and so-called Shrek swap. Plus, the singer, Monica, she joins me live about how she jumped off the stage to help a concert goer and confront a man who was allegedly punching a woman. We'll have that story ahead.
We're reinventing our network
with smarter, more efficient routes, so you can deliver more value to your customers.
Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service.
With Carousel nighttime patches, she's improving the look of her fungus-damaged nail while she sleeps.
Only Carousel patches work for up to 8 hours to reduce discoloration and thickness.
Now that's what I call beauty sleep.
Carousel nighttime patches. We've got you covered.
Hey, Verilux, can you imagine the progressive lens of the future?
You mean a lens engineered with artificial intelligence, powered by over 1 million eyeglass wearer data points, so it predicts your natural eye movement? Discover the new Verilux XR series and experience instantly sharp vision in motion and seamless transitions from near to far. See the future now. Verilux by Essilor.
I've been telling everyone, the secret to great teeth is having healthy gums.
Crest Enhanced Gum Restore detoxifies below the gum line and restores by helping heal gums in as little as 7 days. Crest.
No matter where you're headed, with the right view, the right co-captains, and stunning American design and craftsmanship, you might not care if you ever get back.
Free maintenance, dedicated customer support, and exclusive VIP service.
Number 1 isn't a status earned overnight. It's earned in every wash and re-earned every day. Tide, America's #1 detergent.
Sunday, the whole story breaks down the criminal investigation of Donald Trump in Georgia.
This was somebody obsessed with overturning that election at all costs.
The whole story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday at 8 on CNN.
After 50, sore joints, it can slow us down. I'm not ready for that. I found a secret to turn back the clock on my stiff, achy joints by years without products that just temporarily hide my symptoms and may have scary side effects. My secret? Instaflex Advanced.
Get a complimentary sample just by texting ARCH to 321-321.
Instaflex Advanced targets the root cause of joint soreness and stiffness with a unique combination of 5 key natural ingredients found nowhere else. Key ingredients backed by 5 clinical studies. Instaflex Advanced is so powerful, I had better knees in just 1 week. You gotta try it.
Instaflex Advanced is the #1 selling joint brand at GNC, but you can only get your complimentary sample by texting ARCH to 321-321. Plus, text now and we'll include a tube of Instaflex pain cream for fast-acting relief from the pain of arthritis, backaches, and sore muscles absolutely free. Text ARCH to 321-321 today.
I'm Caitlin Polance at the Federal Court in Washington, and this is CNN.
Northwestern University facing yet another, the 4th lawsuit to be exact, over its football team's alleged culture of hazing. Lloyd Yates, who played for the school from 2015 to 2018, alleges that he was the subject of sexual assault by his teammates. And he just filed a suit that claims that the sexual abuse was directed at male players because of their sex in an effort to break them, to punish them, to control them, or get them in line. He also details naked drills that freshmen had to do in the locker rooms during summer training. Now, at least 15 former players have already announced plans to University over the, quote, toxic culture within that program. And joining us now tonight is Lloyd Yates himself and his lawyer, civil rights attorney, Ben Crum. Lloyd and Ben, thank you both for joining us tonight. Lloyd, I do want to start with you here. Can you walk us through the specific events that you allege happened to you in this lawsuit?
Yeah, well, I'd say first that I really hope by me speaking forward and coming out that this prevents any future athletes from going through what I had to endure and what many of my former teammates and colleagues had to endure. But I'd say it's really centered around a culture of sexual violence, where we were forced to do acts in the nude, where as punishment and for other sorts of kind of initiation, we were physically dry humped. And these were things that were just really graphic, especially as a young 17, 18-year-old boy who was just trying to fit in and make his mark in college sports.
And Lloyd, what impact did that have on your time as a player and on your time in college?
Yeah, so I think it had a lasting impact on me, and I think it's really quite obvious as looking back and reflecting on it more so than it was, at the time. At the time, I think we were really embedded in a culture that really just normalized this kind of stuff, that made it seem that, this is what we do when we play college sports. This was the culture at Northwestern. This is how you become accepted and earn respect from your teammates. But I think, one of the things that was really apparent was the subtle trauma effects that it had in the moment, obviously because it was very violent, it was very graphic, it was very dehumanizing, these different acts that we had to do. But realizing how that impacted, myself 8-9 years later after college is just really, a devastating experience I had.
And Ben, I wonder, we have the testimony from Lloyd here in this lawsuit, but is there other evidence of what he's alleging outside of that testimony that might come forward in these proceedings?
Abby, we think in the days and weeks to come, there are going to be many, many other former student athletes who are going to come forward to corroborate everything that Lloyd Yates has said. It was a culture that was pervasive through all the athletic programs at Northwestern University. And what I'm very proud of is this young man showing courage to speak up and to give a voice to this matter, because far too many times others just have, for whatever reason, not spoken up about it. I will say this. Lloyd Yates is the first named plaintiff who is not unknown to come forward. And that takes a lot of courage. I believe with the Lloyd Yates lawsuit that it acknowledges that this is the Me Too moment for college sports. And hopefully we can eradicate this physical, psychological, and sexual hazing at colleges and universities across America.
Lloyd, head coach Pat Fitzgerald, he was fired in the wake of some of these allegations earlier this month, but he denies knowing about any of this. Do you believe that he was aware of what was going on and what happened to you?
Well, I think, what went on in the culture at Northwestern, which there's an article that came out recently that traced some of the hazing activities back to 3 decades. So, right, this is a very long-standing culture that this was around. So I think it's nearly impossible for the coaching staff to not know what took place. This was very widespread within the organization.
Do you think that there are other coaches who are still currently with the program who were aware of these allegations? And what do you think should happen? What should the school do?
Well, there's some things that, because the pending litigation, wouldn't be appropriate for Lloyd to comment on. But Abby, I will say this. our office, our legal team, are planning to file 30 more lawsuits in the days and weeks to come. And these are lawsuits from the softball program, from the baseball program. Even mascots talk about the hazing that they had to endure. So this is an institutional issue. It's bigger than one individual. It was embedded in the culture of every athletic program at Northwestern University, and we want to see them stop it. It's that simple. You have to have the courage to say, if anybody is hazing you, let us know, and that individual will be expelled immediately. Not to condone it, we have to condemn it.
Lloyd, earlier I heard Ben just describe this as a Me Too moment for college sports. Do you think that that is what you are living through and perhaps leading the charge on?
I think Attorney Crump definitely brings a great point. I think, first and foremost, it's not about me, right? I'm sharing my story and I'm bringing it to light, but this is really about a bigger collective that has been silenced for so long, for many other reasons. So I think Attorney Crump kind of hit it right on the nail. I think we want to, and what we're learning is this is much, much bigger than my individual story, and that we want to eradicate this within sports altogether. These sorts of behavior, these sorts of cultures that exist, that have persisted, they're just not acceptable. And we think that by bringing this to light, we can make real change.
All right, Lloyd Yates and Ben Crump, thank you both very much. We'll be following this story as it goes forward.
Thank you, Abby.
And still ahead for us, it's breaking records at the box office despite right-wing backlash. We'll discuss the politics of Barbie. And next, the singer Monica jumps off the stage, stopping her concert after noticing something in the crowd. Monica joins me live on that dramatic moment next.
My name is Brian Bilala. I teach AP and Honors Economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Financial well-being to me is knowing that I can be free to do the things that I love to do. I hope when I retire someday, they say that guy made this place a special place to come to school and gave as much as he could to help the community.
Ever wonder how much your neighbor's house is worth? Go to Ownerly.com to search home value estimates and compare. Your home could be worth more than you think. Visit Ownerly.com today.
The first time you connected your GoDaddy website and your store was also the first time you realized.
Well, we can do anything. Cheesecake cookies? The Chookie!
Manage all your sales from one place with a partner that always puts you first. Start today at GoDaddy.com.
I wanna hold you. I'm gonna love you forever. Yeah.
Come on, baby.
You don't have to worry. Be by your side. I'll be there. Come on.
Itch, scratch, must not itch.
Stop the itch sanity with Cortisone 10 for bug bites, poison ivy, and other itches. Cortisone 10 is #1 doctor recommended. It works fast and lasts for hours. Cortisone 10.
Okay, Grandma helped me do this my first time.
Can you let me handle this, please?
I can help.
This is Thinks Teens. Absorbs 5 tampons, and Mom won't have to show you how to use them. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive contains ALA to relieve nerve aches and B-complex vitamins to fortify healthy nerves. Try Nervive and try Nervive Pain Relieving Roll-On.
Dinner!
Tween milestones like this may start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too. For most people, HPV clears on its own, but for others, it can cause certain cancers later in life. Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next. Starting at age 9, talk to your child's doctor about HPV vaccination.
How did this relationship between the two of you go to the point where it is now?
Do you believe this counteroffensive is Ukraine's best shot at winning this war?
You're saying this story is wrong? So
I'm not confirming it.
The Source with Caitlin Collins, tomorrow at 9.
This is my coffee shop. We just moved into a bigger space, brought on another employee, and ordered new branded gear for the team. It was so easy. I just chose my products, added our logo, and placed my order. Bring your own team together with custom gear. Get started today at customink.com.
Hello, are you in there? Lumi Whole Body Deodorant makes that shower fresh feeling last longer for your pits, your privates, and beyond, even butt cracks. It's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours, plus it's more effective than a shower with soap. Odor control for more than just armpits? Yes, please. And this formula is the best smelling Lumi ever. Amazing scents like toasted coconut, clean tangerine, peony rose, fresh alpine, lavender sage, and unscented make your shower last longer in a whole new way with Lumi.
When Lila was ready to sell her ring, she sent it to Worthy, where they took care of everything and auctioned it on her terms. Then, Worthy sent Lila her money. You're worthy of more. Get started at worthy.com.
I'm Priscilla Alvarez at the White House, and this is CNN.
There is some tragic news out of Martha's Vineyard tonight. The paddleboarder who was found dead after an accidental drowning is the personal chef of the Obamas. We are told that Tafari Campbell had been visiting, but the Obamas weren't there at the time. And in a statement, Barack and Michelle Obama called him a truly wonderful man who made their lives brighter. Our condolences to his family tonight. But on another story, R&B superstar Monica is receiving praise after she stopped her show in Detroit when she witnessed a man allegedly assaulting a woman in the crowd. I want you to watch this moment. The singer jumped off the stage and into the audience to confront the attacker. Watch.
I know! Don't you hit up like that. Listen. Listen, if y'all don't get that out of your room, man, you ain't gonna leave it. Get you out your mind. Say it.
That remarkable moment, that altercation, was Saturday night and it was caught on tape. It's now gone viral on social media. And Monica is here with us and she joins me now. Monica, really, I watched it this weekend and I was like, wow, it's incredible to see you make the decision to do that. What made you jump off that stage? What did you see?
Honestly, that was just instincts. And I know that people don't have the opportunity to know us personally or on a personal level, but the few that do know that everything for me is a matter of the heart. It's a matter of, I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I am a mother. I said mom. I'm so many things that would allow someone to want to protect me. Simply put, I didn't want to see her hurt or harmed and her not make it back home after coming just to be a concert goer for myself and Ashanti, who was also on the show. You know, these concerts have become what almost feels like a dangerous space and place, and I just really want that to change. So that was just my instincts kicked in. I do not feel like I'm some form of superhero in any facet, but I did what I would hope that someone would do if they saw that happening to my aunt or mother. I could tell that she was, she's definitely my elder, and there was a level of fear there for me just watching what appeared to be a situation that could have been escalated even further. I was simply trying to de-escalate it.
When you jumped down there, you confronted the man who you saw allegedly doing this. What did you say to him?
No, it was more so, and I know these different views and videos, I'm still getting used to the idea of things going viral, because in moments like such, you don't think about that. I am from an era that is pre-internet, so none of that crossed my mind. what I was attempting to do was to get security who was standing there. I don't think they were able to hear or understand me asking them to remove them, especially once the situation started to transpire. So for me, it was all instinct. It was simply just a matter of the heart. I didn't want to see her hurt. I didn't want to see her hit again. I didn't want them fighting. I'm a firm believer that all parties should keep their hands to themselves. Women shouldn't hit men. Men definitely shouldn't hit women, because at the end of the day, there's no win for us with them. They're naturally stronger. And different situations may, have different outcomes, but I'm grateful that both of them made it home safely, because anything other than that, I don't know if I could have ever imagined being on stage again if someone was hurt in a very serious manner at a concert. That's supposed to be a place of joy and fun. And I just pray that people start to govern themselves better there. I think there was a lot to be learned from our side as far as security goes, the venue side as far as security goes, because ultimately it is the venue's responsibility to try and keep them safe. But I just did not want to see someone harmed in a manner that wouldn't allow them to make it back home to their families. And that can very, very easily happen when you're fighting at a concert.
And so many artists face this exact dilemma about whether to step in, whether to stop the show or keep going. Are you hearing anything from police about what happened between these two people? What are you being told? They gave us a statement saying that they're still investigating and that no police reports have been filed. But are you being told anything?
I wasn't told anything. The only thing I asked was everyone okay? And I was told that both parties went home, everyone was okay. And that was my goal in that moment. Anytime I, am told something like there's been an issue or problem, or I've seen singers being struck with items at concerts, I think the overall conversation needs to be not just about this one incident, but about the actions and behaviors when these festivals and concerts are happening. It's all dangerous for us, for the concert goers, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be having a good time. Everyone is supposed to make it back home to their families. And every person that travels with me knows how I feel about people. I am not a girl that grew up wanting to be famous. I'm a girl that grew up loving her family. My family's from Noonan, Georgia. We slopped hogs. We loved on each other. So my feeling when I see something happening is a feeling of compassion and concern. The other stuff is not important to me.
Well, it was really remarkable to see you do what you did. And I have to say, you can't help but be worried about your own safety, having the singer herself jump into the crowd. But clearly you did it because of concern for just keeping everybody safe at your show. Monica, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I want everybody to get home safe to their families, and I want to get home to mine. You guys, we can do better.
That's exactly right. Thank you again. And up next, we're going to discuss the politics of Barbie as that movie now dominates expectations despite outrage.
Why did we choose Safe Flight? For us, driving around is the only way we can get our baby to sleep. So when our windshield cracked, we can't drive this. We needed it fixed right. We went to safeflight.com. There's no one else we'd trust. Their experts replaced our windshield and recalibrated our car's advanced safety system. They focus on our safety, so we can focus on this little guy.
Safe Flight Replace. Safe Flight Replace.
When you have chronic kidney disease, there are places you'd like to be, like here and here. Not so much here. If you have chronic kidney disease, Farxiga can help you keep living life. Farxiga. And Farxiga reduces the risk of kidney failure, which can lead to dialysis.
Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections in women and men, and low blood sugar. Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may lead to death. A rare, life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this bacterial infection, an allergic reaction, or ketoacidosis.
Farxiga can help you keep living life. Ask your doctor for Farxiga. have for chronic kidney disease. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Hey, get away.
10 years ago, we invented the Ring Video Doorbell for moments like these.
We found your wallet.
Thank you so much.
Your guys' garage is on fire.
And Ring security cameras for moments like these.
We got your video. Where are you? Hi, cutie.
10 years of reinventing home security, so you can be always home. Learn more at Ring.com.
Some conservative activists have been successful in their efforts to put a dent in the bottom lines of companies like Bud Light and Target. But what about Barbie? Well, she appears to be immune to boycotts. The movie, which is owned by the parent company of CNN, is a massive hit, raking in more than $160 million here in the United States on opening weekend alone. Now, this is despite attacks from lawmakers and pundits. Senator Ted Cruz said it was brainwashing young girls. Ben Shapiro said it's the most woke movie he's ever seen. He even lit Barbie and Ken dolls on fire. And joining me now is Sharon Waxman. She's the editor-in-chief of The Wrap. So, Sharon, there's been a lot of backlash to the backlash. Why do you think Barbie has been seemingly immune to some of that?
Well, because the movie's not aimed at people like Ben Shapiro and Piers Morgan. That might be one reason why. 63% of the opening weekend was women who went to see this movie in massive numbers, and I suspect a lot of them might go see it again. So that's one thing. The other thing, of course, is that nobody was able to see the movie in advance to be able to raise a protest, a political protest. They could only do it after the movie had already opened and it was already on this juggernaut path to be this massive opening.
But do you think Barbie is political in some ways, or maybe even in the ways that its critics think that it is?
The movie itself? Oh, yes, yeah. The movie is most definitely political. Greta Gerwig, who co-wrote the movie with Noah Baumbach, is a highly aware and, I would say, engaged political thinking artist. She's a feminist. If you've seen Lady Bird, if you saw Little Women, her other movies, the message there, which is a lot about women having agency or not having agency, and the actual reality of what it is to be a woman in 21st century society, that's something that's very much on her mind, and it's very much in the theme of the movie. So I'm not surprised at all to see a backlash by, certainly by conservatives. Actually, there might be more backlash coming as more people see the movie, but I do think most people understand that it's a movie and it's meant to be fun and it's meant to be entertaining, and that's really how most people are going to see it, in bright pink outfits and Barbie dream houses and all of that. But any excuse to have an
well, and you know what, to your point, some people just want to go to the movie in pink and have a little bit of fun. Sharon Waxman, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you for joining me tonight on CNN Primetime. I'm Abby Phillip, and CNN Tonight starts right now with Sarah Seidner. Hey, Sarah.
Hey there. Yeah, we've become the outrage nation, I think. That was a really good interview, Abby. Thank you.
We're both going to just be in our pink. It's okay. It's all good. Have a good show.
Thank you. Good evening to you. I'm Sarah Seidner. Welcome to CNN Tonight. The grand jury investigating Donald Trump and his allies over efforts to upend Joe Biden's election victory is expected to meet again tomorrow. CNN exclusively learning prosecutors are asking witnesses about a never-before-revealed Oval Office meeting in February of 2022 when Donald Trump praised election security protections. But then just a few weeks later, started spreading false voter fraud conspiracy theories. What else has Jack Smith learned, and will it lead to Trump's third indictment? That's tomorrow's news tonight. Also ahead for you, a momentous time in U.S. history finally getting its due. President Joe Biden is expected to sign a proclamation tomorrow establishing a national monument honoring Emmett Till and his mother, Mamie Till Mobley, on what would have been Emmett's 82nd birthday. Till was kidnapped, tortured, and murdered at the age of 14 in 1955. His death shocked America. It also helped fuel the civil rights movement. when his mother insisted on an open casket funeral so everybody would know what hatred and racism can do. Tonight, I'll talk to Emmett Till's cousin about what all this means to the Till family. Also, driving while black, an unarmed black truck driver pulled over and attacked by a police dog, even though he had his hands up and was surrendering. The whole disturbing episode was caught on camera. I want to warn you, the video is very disturbing and difficult to watch.
Do not release the dog with his hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Come. Nope. Do not. Hey, do not. Get the dog off of me. Get the dog off of me.
We'll have much more on that disturbing video and what happened there ahead, but let's begin with tomorrow's news tonight. The grand jury and special counsel Jack Smith's investigation of efforts to overturn the 2020 election is expected to meet tomorrow, as we're learning about that Oval Office meeting where Donald Trump praised American election security. Here to discuss all of this, former Trump White House lawyer James Schultz and CNN legal analyst Karen Friedman. Agnifilo. I knew I was going to mess that up, girl. I'm sorry. Jim, CNN's exclusive reporting, we just talked about it, is that Trump was praising the election security in that Oval Office meeting, even suggesting the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security hold a press conference taking credit for it. What can prosecutors do with this or glean from this, as later on, a few weeks later, he said it was a fraudulent election and someone stole it from him?
Look, they're looking for every shred of evidence that can establish that Donald Trump truly believed that this was a fair election and that his claims that the election was stolen were bogus. So, of course, they're going to look at meetings that he had prior to the election, meetings that he had after the election, claims that he made, things that people told him specifically about the fairness of the election, documents that he may have seen relative to other two lawsuits that went on as it relates to the election. They're looking for every shred of evidence that could show that he either thought in his mind that that election was stolen, and that he was making up the fact that the election was stolen.
Okay, so they're looking at all of this evidence. Karen, Trump did criticize election security, of course, in the months that followed, and I want people to listen to some of what he said.
I don't want to see a crooked election. This election will be the most rigged election in history. They know it's going to be fraudulent. It's going to be fraud all over the place. I've been complaining very strongly about the ballots, and the ballots are a disaster.
All right, so that was in September 2020 before the election happened, and there was this whole idea that he was sort of getting people to the point where they thought, oh, this is rigged, before it even happened, and then after, of course, he went on and on. Can Trump just change his mind? Can prosecutors say, okay, well, he believed this then, now he believes this, but can they argue in the defense, hey, he changed his mind, he learned some things, and now he actually believed that he lost, that he didn't lose?
Look, at the end of the day, whether he believed it or not, it's going to be helpful information. But even if he did believe in his mind that he won, despite all of the evidence that I'm sure Jack Smith will show is to the contrary, even if he says he did believe it, it still doesn't give him the right to interfere with the election, to disenfranchise 80-something million voters who cast a valid vote for Joe Biden. And Trump just didn't like the result. And so he doesn't have a right. I mean, that's the very foundation of our democracy, right? You win or you lose, and you accept the consequences of that. And so what he believed at the end of the day, I think Jack Smith's going to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that there's no way he could have believed it. But I think it also doesn't give him a right to interfere with the election.
No matter what it is he believed. Jim, I want to go to you. We're learning that the special counsel got thousands of documents turned over by Trump ally and former New York Police Commissioner Bernie Currit. This is related to efforts with Rudy Giuliani to try to find voter fraud. And remember Rudy coming out and sort of talking about that. What do you think Jack Smith is zeroing in on in that part of the case?
Look, if If you recall, they were doing investigations to try to bring lawsuits in particular states like Pennsylvania, my home state, to attempt to overturn the outcome of the election based upon voter fraud. That information, the results of those investigations, they resulted on the cases getting tossed out almost immediately for lack of any evidence, right? So that is evidence that they can use against the former president in their case that he was attempting to he was trying to overturn the outcome of a valid election, and that two, he knew what he was up to.
That all makes sense. I have a question. There are several people that we expect to testify, including Bernie Kerik, but he's going to be testifying before the grand jury, as we understand it, in a month, like next month. Does that mean we are really far away from actually seeing whether or not Donald Trump is indicted? Can you continue to do this after indicting him, or no?
So we don't exactly know what's happening because everything that happens in the grand jury by law is secret. But yes, the answer is yes. We don't know if Jack Smith is going to bring a sweeping indictment or a very limited indictment. This could be an indictment of many defendants, including people like Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Mr. Cheesebro. There's lots of people who were part of this conspiracy, and Jack Smith might be bringing this multi-defendant sweeping indictment, or he might do a very limited indictment with just Donald Trump and the 3 crimes that were listed in the target letter. We just don't know, but we do know there are multiple investigations going on, and that this is a special grand jury that is going to continue past tomorrow. So it is possible that there could be a limited, discrete indictment of Donald Trump for the conduct on January 6th and the months before, and the conduct after, all of the things that we've talked about, and continuing investigation in the grand jury for other individuals, other crimes, other potential defendants, even potentially other charges against Donald Trump, and potentially even a superseding indictment. So yes, that doesn't mean we have to wait for an indictment.
Interesting that it can continue to go along because you don't know how far they're going and whether they'll charge one case and then another and a bunch of other people. We know that Donald Trump has gotten a target letter, Jim. We know that Rudy Giuliani up to this point has said he has not gotten a target letter, and no one else has come forward saying that they have gotten a target letter. What does that tell you?
Look, I think what it tells me is they were putting the former president on notice, right? That they were zeroing in on him in this particular case. We don't know if anyone else has received the target letter. It might not be in their interest to tell that they've received the target letter. Those folks may be cooperating. So there's a lot of things that we don't know because of the secrecy of the grand jury. And I think it's entirely plausible that other people may have received that. I would be really surprised that that Jack Smith would bring an indictment that didn't have all the facts locked down as it relates to the former president. We saw the way that he brought the last indictment. It was a very compelling indictment, specific facts, the former president caught on tape. Those are the kinds of things that you need in order to bring a case like this against a former sitting president.
This is, it could be huge. And if it is a very big, sort of all-encompassing case, this could take a really long time to try, could it not?
Yes, absolutely. And it probably would not happen before the election if this is the big, sweeping, huge case with many defendants. I mean, there's many reasons a case could get adjourned. People's schedules, motions that are made. Every defendant has their own motion that they want to make, that some issues apply to one and not others. And so I think if the goal is to have a trial before the election, I think we might see a very discrete, limited case coming down.
Could they bring charges after that, though? Could they do this very sort of limited case and then say, the grand jury also found this, and this?
I mean,
is that unusual?
It just depends, right? It just depends. Yes, you can bring multiple indictments of the same conduct and the same incident should probably be brought together. But if there are other incidents that they look at, that could be brought separately, or other defendants.
Karen, Jim, thank you both so much for your analysis here. It is very interesting, as tomorrow the grand jury meets again, as we understand it. All right, let's talk about all of this with senior political commentator Scott Jennings and Mark McKinnon, former advisor to George W. Bush and John McCain. Mark, I'm going to start with you. You always wear that great hat, and I'd love to see it. The grand jury is expected to meet tomorrow, as I mentioned. Howdy. It's been 8 days, I think, since Donald Trump got his target letter from the special counsel. And Trump's closest rivals are sort of tiptoeing around him. They're not going for the jugular, with the exception of Chris Christie. How does this help them in the primaries?
It doesn't. They're trying to have it both ways, and it never works. And but they're afraid of turning off Trump's base, which of course is, add it up any way you want to, but it's a significant part of the Republican primary voters. So their fear is that they're going to turn off the voters that can elect them in the primary. And so they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. But I just think that ultimately what may happen is that, as strong as he is, a lot of this is just about sort of defending their guy. And as soon as we see enough public polling over time, when there's a third or a fourth indictment, they're going to start to see that this guy's not going to win a general election, that he's going to be a loser as the nominee. And I think ultimately that could affect his numbers going into Iowa.
Scott, do you agree?
Yeah, I do, actually. I think what the other candidates are hoping for, frankly, and I know hope is not a strategy, but I think they're hoping for is that eventually the weight of all this just drags Trump down, to Mark's point, to the point where voters say, look, I love the guy, I love everything he did, I just don't want to do it again because he's so damaged he can't win. And so they want to put themselves in a position to be able to pick up the pieces, and they think by not alienating Trump's voters today, they might be able to do that. But this is a total, bank shot kind of strategy, and it's a lot of hope and prayers that things fall your way that you don't really have control over. One other issue I think that's plaguing the campaigns is they don't know anything. I mean, we know what's reported. We know that indictments may come sometime. Well, we've not seen the charges. We don't know the evidence. And you remember on the documents case, some campaigns got out there and got ahead of it and commented on it. Then the evidence came out of the indictment, and then they had to roll back what they initially said. So my advice to a campaign would be to maybe keep your powder as dry as possible until you see what's in there, because one thing about our reporting tonight, we didn't know about this meeting, and it makes me wonder what else does Jack Smith know that we don't know. And if you're running a presidential campaign, you'll want to comment on something before you've actually seen what the public's going to see.
I want to mention something that Donald Trump has posted on Truth Social. Last night, he lashed out once again, writing this: "We are in the middle of a major political campaign for President of the United States. Have they looked at recent poll numbers? Why didn't they bring these ridiculous charges years before? Why did they wait to bring them now? A virtually unheard of scenario, prosecutorial misconduct, election interference, we've seen those before." What do you think about this? Is this just him doing the thing he always does, which is fight back no matter what's going on, no matter what the evidence is against him?
Listen, this is the first time that I've heard anybody, including Donald Trump, suggest that this has been slow rolled. I mean, for God's sakes, they had the January 6th Commission. We've got 4 different prosecutors in state and federal jurisdictions going after him. So that's a very unique point of view that Donald Trump has just laid out there. That's because of polling that's affecting the timing on this in a way that. I would just say that prior to this, the criticism has been that there's been too much prosecution too soon.
Scott, I do wonder if Donald Trump sort of has a point in that he knows that the timing of it actually is really important because it needs to kind of be before the election. Is that how he's trying to spin this?
Well, this is the glue for the people that he has to hold together to win this primary. As long as that he has to hold together to win this primary, as long as this thing stays fragmented, as long as you have half the party that doesn't want people, this kind of rhetoric is the glue that keeps the half of the party that likes him together. The idea that this is all being done to persecute him, to persecute his voters. So this sort of rhetoric is his political strategy, and has been noted many times, winning the election is his legal defense. The campaign is the defense. The defense is the campaign, and this is all part of that. And as long as there's no consolidation in the field, getting his group to stay together and not peel off of him is the name of the game. And so far, there's really no evidence that they are. So I would expect they'll keep pursuing those strategies that's kept them together so far.
I just want to quickly ask you a yes or no question to both you, Mark, and you, Scott. Mitt Romney has an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal where he basically says there are so many people in the field that they are going to make it so it is impossible for anyone to win but Trump. That is the gist of what you're seeing there on your screen. Is he correct? We'll start with you, Mark.
Well, he's correct theoretically, but he's wrong practically. It just never happened.
Scott?
Yeah, he's right. Fragmentation is Donald Trump's best friend, but getting a bunch of rich donors to agree on anything, virtually impossible. So Godspeed, Mitt. He's right, but man, I don't know how you pull it off.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for that robust conversation. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Now to this. The Israeli government passed a controversial law today that is dividing the country and flooding the streets with protesters. We will have a report from Jerusalem as to what is going on in Israel.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. To help you see untapped possibilities and relentlessly work with you to make them real.
Try killing bugs the worry-free way, not the other way. Zevo traps use light to attract and trap flying insects with no odor and no mess. They work continuously, so you don't have to. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
I've always been prone to hair thinning. I'm genetically predisposed.
I just gave birth. I was under a lot of stress.
I started taking Nutrafol.
We test our formulations with the highest rigor of clinical trials, and we're the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement. I noticed it becoming
Stronger and thicker.
Nutrafol has taken me back to the hair I was meant to have.
I am back to me.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
Okay, Grandma helped me do this my first time. It's really simple.
Mom,
don't be scared.
no.
Can you let me handle this, please? But I think I need it.
No, I think I need handle this.
This is Think Scenes. They absorbed to 5 tampons. So comfortable. And Mom won't have to show you how to use them. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, get away.
10 years ago, we invented the Ring Video Doorbell for moments like these.
We found your wallet.
Thank you so much.
Your guys' garage is on fire.
And Ring security cameras for moments like these.
We got your video. Where are you? Hi, cutie.
10 years of reinventing home security, so you can be always home. Learn more at ring.com. Nope.
Constant Contact delivers the marketing tools your small business needs to keep up, excel, and grow. Constant Contact, helping the small stand tall.
Introducing the all-new 2024 Chevy Trax. Helps you stay connected, safe, and charged. The all-new Chevy Trax, starting at $21,495. The possibilities are endless.
If you're 50 or over, you can be taking advantage of everything AARP has to offer right now. Join AARP for $12 for 1 year, and your second membership is free. Get instant access to discounts on everyday purchases, eye care and prescriptions, and tools and tips to help manage your money and maximize your health. Plus, AARP fights to protect your Social Security, Medicare, and more. Join and get an insulated trunk organizer free, plus AARP the magazine. Call or go to yesaarp.org now.
Try Tide Power Pods with 85% more Tide in every pod.
Who needs that much more Tide?
He does.
No, what does that mean?
It means you're gonna need more Tide. See? More likes, more Tide. Everyone's gonna need Tide.
You're gonna need more Tide.
This back-to-school season, Tide and Downey are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win.
Major developments out of Israel tonight. A newly passed law is stoking significant division and outrage throughout the country, with tens of thousands taking to the streets to protest for and against legislation that curtails the Supreme Court's power to block government decisions and check Prime Minister Netanyahu's power as well. Let's go to senior international correspondent Fred Pleitgen, who is in Jerusalem. I spent quite a bit of time living there in Jerusalem, and I don't think I have ever, since 2012 at least, seen crowds this large standing out and standing up for what they believe in, and especially up against the Israeli government. Can you tell me what this is all about and what you're expecting tomorrow?
Well, first of all, I think you're absolutely right, Sarah. I think this large and also this determined as well. I think there's a lot of Israelis who believe that democracy in this country is under threat. They think that the law that was passed today, but also a flurry of other laws that the government wants to pass as well, which, slowly is going to, or is supposed to curtail the powers of the Supreme Court. But not only that, it's also supposed to then make it easier for the government to change the makeup of the Supreme Court in this country as well. They believe that that's something that's really bad for Israeli democracy and really goes to the fundamentals, to the foundations of Israeli democracy, and marginalizes a lot of people, by the way, as well. We were at protests today where we saw tens of thousands of people turning out, but also a lot of minorities turning out as well. Like, for instance, the LGBTQ community here in Israel saying they fear that they could be in trouble if the government is unchecked, especially with the far-right government that's in power right now. So to a lot of people, this goes to the core of what Israel is, and definitely to the balance of power in this country.
Yeah, it's a really unusual moment in Israel's history. I do want to talk to you a bit about what is happening when it comes to military reservists. You're reporting that more than 10,000 reservists say they will refuse to serve in the military. What people need to understand is your military service is required. Man and women are both required to serve as Israelis. How could that have an impact on Israel's security?
Massive impact. I think this is going to have could have one of the biggest impacts. And it's something also, when we talked to protesters, they also said that this was a dangerous moment for Israel and for its readiness in case Israel gets attacked. I spoke to one young man who said that he was close to going to military service. It's 3 years for young men, mandatory service here. And he said, look, of course, if there is a big war and Israel is attacked, everybody is going to show up. However, in general, are people going to come out and still, in the same way, want to defend a country that they no longer feel is there for them, or with a government they feel is trying to marginalize them? There were protesters who told me that that was an issue for them. We talked about those 10,000 reservists who came out and said that they were going to refuse to serve. They've been ripped into by Benjamin Netanyahu, also by the chief of the military here as well. There's some other politicians who are also calling on people to still show up for their service. But today, when we were at these protests, Sarah, we saw a lot of military reservists wearing those T-shirts of the military reservists who were there with the protesters on the ground, some of them even getting into fights with police officers.
Yeah, it's a highly unusual situation. I can't say that enough. Israelis, they've been protesting for about 6 months now. Why is Netanyahu doing this? I mean, what does it mean for the ordinary Israeli?
Well, for the ordinary Israeli, it could have massive implications as far as the laws in this country is concerned, but also as far as moving this country further to the right is concerned. And one of the things that many people here are afraid of or are concerned about is that the government of the day, the government that's currently in power, could make fundamental changes here in this country that could impact all of society without being kept in check. And I think one of the things that people really need to realize is that Israel does not have a written constitution. And so the Supreme Court really, in many ways, was sort of the keeper of what this country should be about and about a lot of those fundamentals. What we need to look at, for instance, is that the law that was passed today is a law that will make it impossible for the Supreme Court to stop a lot of the legislative measures that the government wants to push through, or any government wants to push through that is in power here in Israel. Right now, of course, you have Benjamin Netanyahu with a far-right government with some ministers that many people believe will do things that are going to be highly detrimental to certain parts of society, and that's why so many people are going out on the streets.
Fred Pleitman, thank you so much for breaking that down for all of us. And you're live in my old haunt, Jerusalem. Appreciate your time. Thank you to the crew as well. President Biden signed a proclamation today establishing a national monument honoring Emmett Till. Up next, I'll speak with Till's cousin about what this moment means for their family.
Black unscripted television launches superstars.
We see some of ourselves.
And it has changed the actual world. Admissions went up by 50%.
Oprah was the pioneer. Networks like BET and Bravo led the way.
RuPaul brings us into the drag experience.
To be able to talk about Black joy was really important.
See it live. The history of Black television. New episode Sunday at 9 on CNN.
If you struggle and struggle and struggle with CPAP, you should check out Inspire. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire, sleep apnea innovation. Learn more and view important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
Bob's Summer of Savings makes buying new furniture a win-win. Get my Avenger sofa or console loveseat with exciting features like power reclining seats, USB ports, and Bob-A-Pedic comfort, just $9.99 each. In store or online today.
Bug spray works best when your family actually wears it. Get odor-free 8-hour protection from mosquitoes and ticks without the ick. Zevo on-body repellent. People love it. Bugs hate it.
Everybody hates the taking off and putting on your shoes nightmare at the airport. But now, there's an easier way. New hands-free Skechers slip-ins. With these Skechers slip-ins, you just step in and go without bending down or looking for a place to sit. Try new machine-washable, hands-free Skechers slip-ins.
Claire stayed in this amazing hotel and paid this much for her room. Jess stayed in the same hotel and paid a lot less. How? Let's go back. While Claire found her hotel on her usual booking site, Jess found her deal on Trivago. Have a look-see, Claire. Trivago compares hotel offers from major booking sites so you can find the best deal for you. Hotel Trivago.
You're finally mastering Grandma's 12-hour sauce. Your stovetop gave out in the 11th hour. Luckily, American Home Shield is there to fix or replace covered appliances and home systems. Protect what you don't expect. Visit ahs.com and get a free quote today.
There are more identity threats than you realize. LifeLock alerts you and works to fix problems with a dedicated restoration specialist. Go to lifelock.com.
Why did we choose SafeLight? We were loading our SUV when crack. SafeLight came right to us, and we could see exactly when they'd arrive with a replacement we could trust. That service the way we want it.
SafeLight Repair, SafeLight Replace.
Sunday, the whole story breaks down the criminal investigation of Donald Trump in Georgia.
This was somebody obsessed with overturning that election at all costs.
The whole story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday at 8 on CNN.
I'm tired of overpaying for a close shave.
Harry's. I don't have to. Harry's offers 5-blade closeness and comfort. And refills cost as low as $2 each. Half of what I paid before. Go to harrys.com/TV to claim your $5 trial. I had a
client once who was a respiratory care nurse during the COVID-19 pandemic. BetterHelp quite literally provided her what she needed at the most pivotal time in her life.
At Brew Lava, feel like $1,000,000 without paying the price. Seize the deals on top news before they're gone. Get in to never miss out. Shop BrewLala.com today. When Lila was ready to sell her ring, she sent it to Worthy, where they took care of everything and auctioned it on her terms. Then, Worthy sent Lila her money. You're worthy of more. Get started at Worthy.com.
The Source with Caitlin Collins, tomorrow at 9.
This week, as we saw a loud outcry from people concerned the history of slavery in this country is being whitewashed in Florida by the State Department of Education, a claim denied by Florida officials, including the governor, there is a move to honor and recognize the pivotal role the tragedy of one Black American family had on our world. Tomorrow, President Biden is expected to announce the establishment of a national monument dedicated to Emmett Till. Till was visiting family in Mississippi in 1955 when two white men pulled him from his bed and marched him out of his home after a woman accused Emmett of whistling at her. 3 days later, Till's bloated and mutilated body was pulled from the Tallahatchie River. When it came time for the funeral, his mother, Mamie Till Mobley, said she wanted America to see what racist hate had done to her son. That decision and his case was a pivotal moment that helped spark the civil rights movement. Nearly 70 years later, several states will now have monuments built to remember him and his family. Joining me now is Emmett Till's cousin and the co-founder of the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation, Deborah Watts. Thank you so much for being here, Deborah.
Well, thank you for having me.
Deborah, I know you remember this. We met in Minneapolis. It was a chance meeting during the weeks-long protests after George Floyd was killed by a police officer. Obviously, the fight for civil rights not over. But can you tell me what this moment means when you hear that there will be now recognition in public spaces of this momentous importance of the Till's family and their tragedy?
Yes, well, you know, it's an exciting time, and it's one that I think well overdue. We have been in our own spaces, our foundations, our cousins, and other family members have taken it upon themselves to recognize, preserve that history, and to make sure that people were aware. But now, at this level, at the highest level of our country, our leader in this country has decided that these are I can't even say it right, places that need to be recognized and preserved and protected. I think that is what's really important. So we have nothing but just joy, gratitude towards all the hard work that's gone in to starting with my family and others who have come on board and these organizations that are going to make sure that this happens. And, you know, we're excited also because we know that it's time that we even have a seat at the table, that our family has a seat at the table, so that the erasure, the reimagining of the truth is not retold in a way that it removes the dignity, the sacrifice, and the horrific nature of what happened here, because we don't want that repeated. And so we want to make sure that we have that opportunity to sit with those that are making those decisions about what these narratives will be saying in these important places. And there's so many others as well, too, Sarah, that will be even traveling to this August on the 68th anniversary of Emmett's murder to make sure that people understand what those places mean on that journey that he took.
You mentioned something, Deborah, that is very salient for the time that we're in now. There's a lot of discussion about what's happening with Florida's school board, with what's happening with what some people look at as whitewashing the horrific nature of slavery. What do you worry about now, and in the context of the fact that now your cousin Emmett Till will be recognized for what happened going, and even to this day, the sort of, march towards civil rights?
Well, we have always understood that march and that struggle needs to continue, that the stories need to be told, that the voices, so important to have the more authentic voices telling those stories, the witnesses and those that are part of the family and others. That's important. And so that has not been in the textbook of our today's educational system. So we know that we'll have to continue doing all of the hard work that we've done before, even though there's a resistance to make sure that this is part of the curriculum in our education system. There's a resistance to the unmitigated truths about what happened back then. So we have to continue doing all of the work that we've done before. We know that the struggle continues, and so we can't ignore the resistance, but we definitely have, I think, the energy and inspiration behind us with Mamie Mobley's sacrifices and her courage to move us forward.
Can you tell me what you remember, and back when you were around Mamie? What do you remember about her, about all of the things that the family sort of went through? What did you go through? What did your mother go through?
Well, it was I believe for Mamie, it was, and our family just were in awe of just her dignity, her courage, and it was her story to tell. It was her struggle to fight. She led, and I believe, laid this blueprint for all of us to be in awe of and to watch her stand before crowds of people to tell her truth through her pain and her tragedy, but then also moving forward towards justice for him to tell. So it was nothing but pride, and Mamie was my shero, and I believe is for a lot of other people as well, particularly those in the Till generation. So she, I think, just took those reins, moved things forward for this country, made some decisions that I think woke up America. You could not deny what was happening back then because of her decision to have an open cafeteria. So nothing but pride, nothing but just being in awe of her, and also just understanding that her faith pushed her through as well, and her village provided those opportunities for her to take those platforms and stand in her truth.
Yeah, seeing the mother's pain, any mother can, no matter what color, can understand what that is, and she certainly did it with grace, but also it was a heavy weight for the family for so long, and I know you were looking for justice, and justice never arrived, but I thank you for coming on the show and discussing this with us, and we will be waiting to see what those monuments are. They're going to be in 3 different places, and I'm sure that you'll be there, so we will discuss that with you when that happens.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Heather. All right, now to the disturbing encounter between a 23-year-old black truck driver in Ohio and police and their canine. What happened when the truck driver dropped to his knees with his hands up? We have the video and a robust discussion about driving while black. Coming up next.
My name is Joshua Florence, and one thing I learned being a firefighter is plan ahead. You don't know what you're getting into, but at the end of the day, you know you have a team behind you that can help you. Not having to worry about the future makes it possible to make the present as best as it can be for everybody.
Created a brand new way for you to sell your car. Go to Carvana, answer a few questions, and our techno wizardry calculates your car's value and gives you a real offer in seconds. We'll come to you, pay you on the spot, then pick up your car. That's it. At Carvana.
Contact delivers the marketing tools your small business needs to keep up, excel, and grow. Constant Contact, helping the small stand tall.
Good checkup? No, great checkup. Nailed it again.
Keep up the good work. For great checkups, Crest has you covered because Crest Pro Health protects 100% of your mouth for 24 hours.
Look, Mom, no cavities.
Crest.
When planning for retirement, I talked to my financial advisor. When looking for our new home, I used a local real estate agent. So when Mom needed assisted living, I turned to a senior living advisor and a place for Mom. She shared insights on local communities we never would have found. This wasn't an easy decision, but her expertise was the difference between finding a place and finding the perfect place.
For free senior living advice, go to aplaceformom.com.
I've always been prone to hair thinning.
I was getting older. I was under a lot of stress.
I started taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement.
I am back to me.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
Doug.
What do we always say, son? Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
They only pay for what you need.
That's my boy. And you get out there and you make us proud, huh?
Bye, Uncle Emu.
Stay off the freeways.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hello? Listen to me. Who is this? We have your son.
They're gonna kill that boy. We can see him. What is it with your family and secrets? Is there something else going on?
Whatever this costs, I'm here! It's worth it.
They're all hiding something.
Nobody knows the big picture, but they will.
Do you ever feel dehydrated and need to feel better quickly? Liquid Labs from Force Factor hydrates better and faster than water alone. And Liquid Labs is delicious, easy to use, and affordable. Rush to Walmart and find Liquid Labs in the vitamin aisle.
Did you know that the odor reactions that take place in our underarms are identical to the odor reactions that happen everywhere on your body? And a daily shower with soap isn't controlling body odor as well as you think it is. That's why I created Lumi Whole Body Deodorant, clinically proven to control odor on pits, feet, privates, and beyond by stopping odor before it even starts with our acidified technology. So head over to our website, LumiStarterPack.com, and discover how you can get 2 free items plus free shipping on your first order.
Rich, velvety coffee. Cafe quality espresso. One high-pressure system that can do both. Brew to your heart's desire with the Love Barista system. A masterpiece in taste.
I'm Alex Marquardt in Ukraine, and this is CNN.
Tonight, there's growing outrage after the release of police body camera footage of a traffic stop that led to a police canine attacking a driver in Ohio. I need to warn you that this footage is really disturbing. All right, here it is. It shows an unarmed black driver being mauled by a police dog after dropping to his knees with his hands up. Authorities in Ohio pulled over this 23-year-old truck driver on July 4th after a lengthy police chase that allegedly started over a missing mud flap on that 18-wheeler. The driver of the truck told emergency dispatchers he thought police were going to kill him, so he was slow to pull over. Once he's out of that vehicle with his hands up, you can hear a sergeant telling the officer that has the canine not to release the dog multiple times, but canine's released anyway. CNN's Isabel Rosales has more details for us.
I was about to comply with them, but they all had their guns drawn out for whatever reason.
A newly released 911 call made by a semi-truck driver during a lengthy police chase reveals why he wouldn't exit the vehicle.
I don't know why they're trying to kill me.
They're not trying to kill you.
Yes, they are. Obviously, they're throwing stuff on the ground, trying to explode the tires.
Officers attempted to stop 23-year-old Jadarius Rose in a commercial semi-truck on July 4th because of a missing mud flap, according to a case report by the Ohio State Highway Patrol.
It's like 20 police cars behind me, and I don't feel safe.
The video shows Rose did initially pull over, but didn't get out of the truck and instead continued back onto the highway, with multiple law enforcement cars seen joining the chase. Eventually, Rose pulls over and exits the truck, surrounded by multiple officers and a Circleville police canine unit that stopped to assist. You can hear contradictory verbal commands from the officers.
Come to me! On the ground!
A trooper can also be heard instructing the canine officer.
Do not release the dog with his hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up.
Despite repeated warnings from the state trooper, the dog is released and runs toward the officers before turning to Rose and attacking him. It's not clear if the canine officer could hear the warning.
Get the dog off of it! Get it out! Get it out! Get it out! Get it out!
Rose cries out as officers are yelling for a first aid kit, and he's later seen being treated by the officers. Rose was taken to the hospital and then released.
Connor unleashed dogs and hoses on black people because they were marching for their rights in this country.
The Ross County Prosecutor's Office tells CNN that Rose was released from custody on July 7th. That's 3 days after his arrest. Right now, that office is working still, they tell us, to gather the evidence and to determine whether to move forward with a charge against Rose. That charge would be failure to comply with an order or signal by a police officer. That is a felony. Sarah.
Thank you to our Isabel Rosales. You just heard Jadarius Rose telling a dispatcher he wasn't pulling over because he didn't feel safe and his fears were realized. Joey Jackson and John Miller are here with me. I want to know what this tells you, but hold on. We'll get an answer from the both of you after the break.
My small business wouldn't qualify for an ERC tax refund.
You should get a second opinion from Innovation Refunds at no upfront costs. Sometimes you need a second opinion.
All these walls gotta go.
I'd love a second opinion. Take the first step to see if your small business qualifies.
If you're 50 or over, you can be taking advantage of everything AARP has to offer right now. Join AARP for $12 for 1 year, and your second membership is free. Get instant access to discounts on everyday purchases, eye care and prescriptions, and tools and tips to help manage your money and maximize your health. Plus, AARP fights to protect your Social Security, Medicare, and more. Join and get an insulated trunk organizer free, plus AARP the magazine. Call or go to yesaarp.org now.
Clenching again? I'm trying to concentrate. You don't have to kegel your way out of this, honey. You're a leaker now. You need things. Cute, comfy, absorbent. How do you even know about these? Please. Oh, I need these right now. Okay. Mommy needs things.
How white do you think your teeth really are? Let's try the tissue test.
Oof, still yellow. Whitening toothpaste can only do so much.
There's toothpaste white and there's Crest 3D White Strips White. They whiten like a $400 professional treatment.
So much whiter.
Crest.
Introducing the all-new 2024 Chevy Trax. Helps you stay connected, safe, and charged. The all-new Chevy Trax, starting at $21,495. The possibilities are endless.
Why did we choose Safe Light? For us, driving around is the only way we can get our baby to sleep. So when our windshield cracked, we need